Hello guys and welcome back to another redstone guide here with Krimax. And first of all, I want to say I'm very excited for tomorrow's Nether update. As you can see here on the screen, 23rd of June is the full release of the Nether update for all of the platforms. I mean both Java and Bedrock. But now let's get started with today's redstone guide. First of all, I apologize because I forgot about two very important features about the um, redstone repeater in the last redstone guide. So this is that you can lock a redstone repeater. So if you cannot, if you power a redstone repeater, you cannot get output from it. And just like that, you can make a very interesting contraption which helped me really a lot. You can't even imagine how much helped me this contraption. So if I just do this little thing over here, oops, add that there, just like that, and this here and that there. As you can see, that is kind of a button lever which I used very often, and if I just press that button, I get an output of redstone. I can power that and then turn off, then turn on, then off. I wonder if I do just that. Oops. It happens the same, but if I just do that, it is supposed to stay. How about now? Now it has to be on one tick. But if I do the same with an observer, oops, wrong. No. If I just do that with an observer, you can see I get just one tick, and that's instant. So that you know. And the second feature is that if you have like two pistons like that and a redstone repeater like that, you will not get both of the pistons powered. This thing works on Java but not on Bedrock, because this redstone repeater powers only that piston. But in Java edition it powers that piston, and through that piston it powers that piston as well. But if I do the same thing with redstone dust, I will be able to get the both of them. And that's because this redstone dust is pointing to this redstone, to this piston, and into that block and powers that block that powers this piston. So that pretty much is. I'm really sorry because I forgot about them. They are really important features that you have to know about. But in today's redstone guide, we will talk about the actual piston, and not only the sticky piston but the simple piston as well. So let's get started. So the most important thing that you have to know about the pistons is that the sticky piston will extend a block and then retract it when it retracts. But a simple piston extends will push the block, but when it retracts it will not get the block back to it, and that is a really useful thing. You may say, but simple pistons are absolutely useless. In fact, they are not, because if you just do something like that's something kind of big for you can see. Yeah, so or you can do just that, which is much smaller and kind of faster. Very useful. Now another interesting thing is that if you have um, let's go over here, if you have a powered piston you cannot push it, as you can see. If you have it off you can push it, and that is a good example of the double piston extender. I mean in general of the piston extenders. I made a double piston extender tutorials on my channel if you're interested, and those are in my opinion the best piston extenders you can ever have. But this is just for example so that I can do it very quick. Like that. Now, as you have seen, but if I have less delay here, you will observe that like that. You will observe that this piston will not retract that piston, and that is because, as you can see here, this piston retracts nearly at the same time as this piston, and that means that when this piston retracts, this is still in the open position, nearly open position, because not the same as on the Java, we have delay on pistons. On Java we have no delay on pistons, which may be a good thing that we don't have delay on Java. It may be a really useful thing to have on Bedrock. And as I have just shown, you can power two pistons like that. Or if you want, you can do the same thing by doing that, then that, and then that, because this one powers here, and then goes there. And if I just do one of those, it will turn off, as you can see. So the default here is on and the default here is off. That might help you. And you can power the piston from above. Just let it stay there. You can power it from underneath that side. I mean for the sides, and then from the back as well. But something that you can see on Java is that you can power a piston if you have it like that. Thing which is really strange. I mean, if you have something like that, it will not retract. Something that happens on Bedrock. Thing that is very, very useful in my opinion. In general, it helps really a lot having the feature that you can power. Then, oops, that's not a sticky one. As you can see here, on Java it will extend and then never retract. and that's because this redstone block powers through the actual, I don't know how this is even named, but I mean through the top of the piston into the piston block, as I can name it. And the same will happen here on Java, not on Bedrock, but only and only on Java. So, and another thing that I was about to forget to mention is the fact that you can push only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You can push only 12 blocks, as you can see. If I remove this one, then it is exactly 12 and I can extend it. If I add only one more block, well, it can't push that many. I mean, you might say, I don't really need that much. Yeah, on Bedrock is kind of understandable, but on Java, because you have those fancy flying machines, 12 blocks is really a small number, really small number of push limit. So yeah. So on another feature, very interesting and very useful in my opinion, is that in Bedrock Edition you can move containers, as you can see. May say, well, that's useless again. Well, I showed you that here the simple piston is not useless. The same as here, the container moving, is again very useful in a lot of things. For example, I made a very cheap super smelter by using an feed tape of furnaces, and then an little spot where there are hoppers which will just put fuel and the thing you want to, the input in the furnaces in row. So it goes like that, the feed tape, oops, and the hoppers are just chilling over here and the furnaces are going around like that. Very useful in my opinion, and I may think it will be very useful to show you how to do a feed tape. I use very frequently observers for that, but there are other options as well. But let me just show you how I make them. So like that, then here, then there, and then here, if that one there, so if I just have those, and then power this one like that, Oops, I need a stone button. I'm sorry for that. Let's repair this thing really quick, like that. And if I put that stone button there, you can see that the blocks are going around like that. I mean, that's a really simple design, better than making weird lines of redstone dust and the redstone repeaters to make the delay. In my opinion, that's a much better one. You can actually make the same thing as here, right over here, so that it can go all the time like that. Yeah, this thing you can use as well on color what's the name, color combination locks, which are really useful in my opinion. So that may be everything. No, only one more thing I want to mention is that on Java Edition, if you do that, the block will remain here. Thing which I really want. I really want this feature on Bedrock. I would love it on Bedrock, and that's exactly why this feature. Let me explain why this feature is one of the best features that should be introduced in Minecraft Bedrock. That's because without that feature, we cannot make proper flying machines. That's it. Can't you just introduce the fact that when the piston gets just one tick, it will just leave that block there? Isn't that very simple? I mean, extends the first time, and then the second time. I can't show you right now. I hope I could, but unfortunately I can't because I don't have Java edition, because I don't have a PC. But this might be everything for today's guide. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope it wasn't that boring as I expect it to be. Yeah. So yeah, that was everything, and see you on the next redstone video, or maybe not redstone video, but in general video. Bye bye.